All right, guys, I've got a battery here that I want to test to see if it's any good. So I've got the Topdon. This is the BT100W, I think. Yep. So it has wireless capabilities, which means it can be used Bluetooth. I'm going to use it on just the device since I'm recording on my phone. So this is an AGM battery. I'm going to use the CCA ratings, and it's 120 CCA. And we're going to do a test here to see if this battery is any good as it stands. I just took it off a charger. It was a 1 amp charger. It was on there for about a day, 2 days, just to make sure it was all the way topped off. So I was saying it's bad. 73 CCA, 100% charged, but only 37% health. Pretty high resistance there, 34.09 ohms. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do two things. I have I think this is a 1 amp battery charger that has this option here for desulfation. Resistance happens in a battery when there's sulfation and or calcification on the lead plates. So if I use this, theoretically, I might be able to break off some of that sulfation. So remember, 34.09 ohms resistance. And after we do an overnight charge on this, on the desulfation setting, we'll see if it has less resistance and a greater percentage of health. All right, we had this on a 1 amp charger for about 16 hours set on the desulfation mode. And now we are going to test it again. It's sitting at 13.09 volts. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Oh my. Okay, so that did not work. Health is down to 34%, and resistance is 35.29 milliohms, so it's gotten worse. Alright, well, we can say for sure that this is not going to do the trick. Now, this is an older battery minder, charger, maintainer, and I can't blame it for not wanting to do its job anymore, but it works as a charger. Battery minder makes great stuff, but this isn't going to do what we need it to do here. So next up, I've got a 1.5 amp manual charger. This is an older style charger. You know you have a manual charger if you touch these together when you're not connected to the battery, and you get a little spark. Okay. Not recommending you do it all the time, but I don't think you're going to hurt it by doing that. So we're going to hook this up, and even though the battery is already fully charged at 13.09 volts, we're going to see that we're going to get a higher reading here. Well, we're going to see if we have the camera here. So we got 1.5 amps, and it's giving us 16.5 volts. So that higher voltage is going to cause heat inside this battery, which hopefully is going to help with desulfation. Because as this heats up, even though it's an AGM battery and it's sealed and everything's absorbed, hence the AGM name, we're still going to get some vibration in the electrolytes solution, which hopefully is going to knock off the sulfation from the plates, or at least some of it. So we'll check back on this in a few hours, and we'll do the test again, and hopefully we see the internal resistance is lower. All right, so I've got this battery on charge right now. It's charging close to 16 volts, and you can see it is definitely warming up here on the charger. So that is good. That's what we want. That'll help knock the sulfation off the plates. All right, so it's been about 3 hours on this charger. It's not very long, but I'll let this cool off, and I did another test. And it's still saying it's bad, but now it's got a little bit more health percentage, a little bit more CCA, and a little less internal resistance. I think it was 33 the first time we did it, 34 after the first test, and now it's down to 30. So maybe if we put it on here for a little longer, the high voltage will continue to vibrate some of the sulfation off the plates. Let's try it. All right, I let this cook over the weekend. It's a little bit warmer than room temperature, not much, but sitting at 16 volts. So we're going to detach our charger now, put it somewhere safe since it's live, And our tester here. This will turn on as soon as we come in contact here. Okay. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. So after charging all weekend, 28.57 resistance. So it's gone down a couple numbers there. All right, so having it on charge all weekend long on this low amperage charger, high voltage, low amperage, did take some of the sulfation off the plates. Now we're down to 28.57. I wonder if we could hook it up to a higher amperage, same amount of voltage charger and do even more desulfation. That is the last thing we'll try here. All right, this will be our final test here. We had this on a 10 amp manual charger for a few hours, and let's do our tests here. See if this stripped off any more sulfation. Let's see. Easy enough to go through here to do the test. 10 seconds later. We're gonna see a good battery or a bad battery. It says bad. So now the internal resistance is up to 42. So I guess there is a fine line between a little bit of extra voltage and amperage to cook some sulfation off and then overcooking. And what probably happened is it overcooked it so much that the lead plates that were there crumbled off, and now it's reading that there's less lead plates to do the work essentially. So probably overcooked it on the 10, but we saw on the test that it was getting a little bit better with our various methods of desulfation to a point. I wondered if this was recoverable since it's a newish battery, but it is not going to be recoverable. Into the recycling it goes. Well guys, we weren't able to save that little battery, but hopefully this still has shown you something about batteries that maybe you didn't know before. With a little bit of heat, you can do some amount of recovery if you do it right. As we saw in this video, there can be too much of a good thing, and that kills the battery, essentially, makes it less usable. But with the right amount of heat and the right amount of voltage and amperage, you can recover a battery to an extent. Once the sulfation becomes calcified, I think it's a lot harder, but if you catch it in time, I think there's a higher chance of being able to salvage a battery and keep it more usable for a longer amount of time. So hopefully you learned something. If you did, I hope you guys will like and consider subscribing to this channel. I enjoy making these videos, and you guys liking, commenting, subscribing helps support me so I can do this. So thank you guys for watching, and hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.